Sh.Khalfan Al Esry on Let's Connect.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to your Ramadan radio program, Let's Connect. This is your host, Rym Aoudia, with the Honorable Sh.Khalfan Al Esry and the sound engineer, Safiya Al-Habsi, from 11:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. and repeats 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. Welcome, Sh.Khalfan.
Thank you so much, alhamdulillah.
Thank you. Always wonderful to have you with us.
Thank you so much.
Alhamdulillah, the last episode, Sh.Khalfan, we spoke about parenting.
Yes.
And a very important element, you said parents should be aware that whatever they do impacts a child.
Yes.
This is the basis of awareness.
Yes.
And you also mentioned that good parenting starts from the selection of the spouse itself,
yes,
from that early. Making
yes,
sure you're selecting someone who's potentially will be a good father or a good mother.
Yeah.
You also mentioned that the pregnancy phase is also very important, that we tend to overlook, where the state of mind, the emotions of the mother and the environment would impact as well the child.
Yes.
You mentioned the first 2 years to focus on giving unconditional affection, warmth, and hugs. 3 to 4 years as unconditional love, and this is the age where they have the energy to experiment and explore, and allow them to do that within a safe environment. And from the age of 4 to 7, you mentioned this is where they're looking for role models. So to share with them stories that embed values,
yes,
and of course the parents themselves are the greatest role models in the eyes of the child. From 7 to 10, you said they're ready to receive instructions.
Yeah.
So start involving them, coaching them. And afterwards, from about 10 to 15, the puberty stage is the soul searching, where they want to establish an identity. And you mentioned give them the freedom to make those decisions, but be under supervision.
Yes.
And 15 and above, it's adulthood. This is where we start shifting responsibilities to them. Now, at the end of the show, we received a call from Maryam.
Yeah.
And we didn't have the time to answer it. So before we get to today's topic, we'll start by answering her question. And she had 2 inquiries. One is about a 15-year-old who's too demanding and how to approach that. And the other is about when a child has psychological concerns and is emotionally impacted. So how to handle that.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi. With children, as I said in the previous episode, they will always test us. And in that testing, they want to see our boundaries and they want to see the limits. They will keep on trying their luck. And as much as they try their luck, they will always raise the bar. So when a child is too demanding, it's because parents got into the habit of responding to the demands of a child. And the child knows he or she can get away with it. Now at the age of 15, 16, what does a mother do? Or what do parents do to children who are very demanding? This is when you say that responsibilities begin to shift.
Okay.
So for every demand, for every taking, they ought to be giving. So in that demand, the child needs to know that things don't come for free. There is a price to pay. So it could be that an agreement is established, a contract is established between the two, based on these are your obligations, and for these obligations you are entitled to this.
Okay.
If you go beyond the call of duty and you do this, this is the extra that you can get. It can be tangible, it can be intangible.
So an agreement.
So it is an agreement. And then you stick to those agreements.
Yes.
And then it's to establish, you say that you are entitled to this much for Ramadan, for Eid, for schooling, for pocket money, for holidays. It's all established. It's very clear. Anything above this, you have to earn it.
Okay.
Yeah. One way to earn it is, for example, to say that if you shift your marks from C to B or from B to A in your studies, there's going to be a bonus for you. So you have to put that extra effort. Another condition would be that if you become proactive in participating in house chores, like cleaning your bedroom and supporting the family, doing some cooking, or helping the guests, whatever it is, doing a bit of gardening, then there will be the extras. So then they have to know there is an element of sweat behind every earning, not everything that comes for free.
Yes.
But if parents keep on responding to those demands unconditionally, then the child will keep on raising the bar, saying, now I want more and I want more, because my friends, my peers, they have extra. Why can't I have extra? Yeah, they will always compare.
Continuous. Yeah.
And in that comparison, ought not to be entertained. Yeah, it ought not to be entertained.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. And the second element, Sh.Khalfan, psychological.
Yeah, children sometimes do get affected one way or the other, maybe in their childhood, in the early days. And it could be an event, could be an experience that has happened to them. It was an emotional event, and usually an experience, when coupled with intense emotion, it becomes an anchor. And that anchor then, anytime that experience is repeated, emotions are activated and the anchor is activated as well. And they feel the same type of feeling, which is either fear, or it is stress, or distress, or anything.
Okay.
So the whole idea behind it is that, number one, is to go and identify what is it that caused that child to be fearful of a specific event. It could be standing in front of an audience, and there's a lot of people that have that. It could be that they are scared of darkness. It could be they're scared of a particular insect.
So phobias.
It could be a phobia.
Okay.
Sometimes it develops all the way to a phobia, sometimes just below the phobia.
Okay.
So we need to find what activated, what triggered that emotion. And then it's to begin to have the dialogue, talking with them, letting them know that that was a one-time experience, and slowly begin to talk them out. It is also possible to do a bit of NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, a bit of reprogramming, or they can even have hypnosis to remove that anchor.
Okay.
Yeah, but the main thing is that, number one, is to understand what triggered it. As an example, I know one of the girls. She's now married, and the one thing she doesn't want is anything to do with milk, with cheese, any dairy products. To her is a no-go. So we try to understand why. In going back, we came to find out when she was between the age of 4 and 5, at that age, she drank milk that was spoiled.
Okay.
The smell of it. And she vomited, she threw up. That experience and that smell never parted her.
It was still alive in her.
So every time she smells milk or cheese or any dairy product, including ice creams and all of that, and that sensation comes back. Yeah, wanting to puke, wanting to throw up. So that is, we know the anchor.
Okay.
Now the one way to remove it is to let her know that not everything that is spoiled, so it is to remove that smell and replace it with another smell. Yeah. So the way to do it is to let her relax. In that relaxation is to imagine, to bring back the scenario of puking. Okay. Now you have the milk here, and you think it is spoiled, and you can smell it, etc. And then slowly say, now we're going to replace this with milk that is fresh. And then you introduce close to her nose, when she's eyes closed, the smell of a fresh milk.
Okay, replace it.
You even introduce it with a bit of, for example, you can put a bit of mint to make it smell nicer. So slowly you dilute that smell that you got used to with another smell, and even better. And then for the first few days, you only let her drink milk with mint. Yeah, strong mint. And slowly, and then you begin to dilute the mint, and until you come back to the normal.
Okay.
If people are afraid of darkness, it's the same thing. You need to find what activated the emotion, the experience, and begin to talk about it. Without de-anchoring that anchor, it stays with them until they become old. It doesn't leave. It doesn't go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Sh.Khalfan. Those were the questions by Maryam. We'll get to today's topic, Sh.Khalfan, which is about peace.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's very common as well. In photos, we do the peace sign, but we never take a moment to actually understand the concept of peace.
Yes.
So, what is the meaning of peace?
Now, peace, simple as it is, and it is a word a lot of people repeat. Peace in simplest form is no harm done.
Okay.
No harm. That is peace. No harm physically, emotionally, mentally, psychologically, spiritually, no harm.
Okay.
In whatever form. To establish that no harm, then it's something else. But basically, peace in its simplest form is that let there be no harm to either party. Yeah, then we can establish peace.
Okay.
Yeah, if people agree to that, then it is peace. It could be even a word. A word can activate a war. There is no peace. So no harm even with words, with action, with thoughts, with playing with emotions. No harm of trying to test people. So everything then, to me, it summarizes into that the word is no harm.
Yeah, so regardless of the approach.
Regardless of the approach.
Yes, ensuring sometimes the intention is no harm, but the action
Indeed.
might be.
Yeah.
Yeah. So why would we say is the concept related to Islam, the peace?
With Islam is that it means that number one, in Islam, peace, it means peace at 3 levels. Peace with Allah, peace with self, peace with others. Peace with Allah is that I am living in His kingdom. I am part and parcel of this universe, and it all belongs to Allah. This universe has been driven by systems, very meticulous systems, and I am part of that system. I have 2 options. Either I go with the system or I go against the system. If I go against the system, I'm not establishing peace. I'm not at peace with Allah. Worshipping none other than Allah is raging a war with Allah. Not doing what He's instructing us to do as human beings on earth is also raging war with Him. So it is not establishing peace. So that is what we mean by peace with Allah, is to do what He tells us to do and to refrain from what He tells us to refrain from.
Okay.
Peace with self is to say that this body of mine is a trust. I've been given trust. This body of mine is a trust. And the only thing that I have in my power is my conscious mind, the willpower, the power of choice, the free will. The free will is the only thing that I have. With that free will, I need to be responsible in looking after my body, looking after myself, looking after my body again, physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually.
Okay.
So I need to establish peace with myself. That's why in Islam, harming oneself is wrong. Committing suicide is a taboo. Taking anything that can harm the body in the form of intoxicants, drugs, alcohol is wrong. All the way to the extent of gambling and eating the wrong food, and all of that is whatever that can harm the person in Islam is wrong. La darar wala dirar. Be no harm to self and no harm to others. Peace with others is to go and accept people and to tolerate people and to realize that I am not the judge on this earth. I'm only here as a messenger on this earth. Being a messenger, number one, I can deliver a message and that's it. It's up to people to accept the message or not. Or number two, I can go and practice the right way of life and be a role model for people to see this is a good way to live. So I live by moral values, by high moral standards, and then it's up to people to say, you know what, we like that, we want to follow that. So those are those are the. And then when I deal with people, I don't go and judge them based on their color or their creed or their gender or their background or their family status or their wealth status. I treat them as human beings. Justice, establishing justice on earth with others is establishing justice. Number two, it is exercising and exerting the highest form of moral values.
Okay.
And number three is that in commercial dealings or in transactions that we have is to ensure we don't have any forms of corruption and we don't cheat, we don't steal, we don't
fairness.
Indeed, fairness in that, yes.
On the authority of Muawiyah, may Allah be pleased with him, who said, I heard the Messenger of Allah, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, saying, when you pursue the private life of people, you lead them to corruption. Shu'aib al-Aman al-Buhayqi.
I love you, Allah.
Sh.Khalfan Al Esry. on Let's Connect.
Welcome back to Let's Connect. Sh.Khalfan, you spoke about the concept of peace as doing no harm.
Yeah.
And in Islam, the concept is first being peace with Allah, and then peace with self, and peace with others.
Yes.
Now, if we start with ourselves, how can we establish peace in our lives?
Now, with self, the one thing to focus on most of the time is the mind.
Okay.
Because the mind is like a computer, or the mind is like a software, to put it precise. So whatever we program our mind, we become that person. You are what you think about most of the time. You are what you think about most of the time. So whatever you think about and you entertain as a thought, you become that person. And a lot of people, unfortunately, with thinking, one thing that they has influenced them from their environment is that they establish a self-limiting belief about themselves. And they began to call themselves names. And they introduce a very difficult word to themselves, which is I cannot.
I can't. Okay.
I can't. I cannot do this, I cannot do that, I cannot do that, I cannot do that. I'm not capable to do this, I'm not capable to do that, I don't deserve this, I don't deserve that. So the word don't actually then became like if you use a car, it's just like a handbrake, or it's just like the brakes. You have plenty of potential, you want to move forward, but because of that, you hold yourself back. And if people entertain negative thoughts, then that's what's going to happen. They're going to become that person. If they entertain positive thoughts, that's what's going to become. And nothing succeeds like successful thoughts. So with self, to be at peace with self, the first thing is to like self. You will be surprised how many people hate themselves.
Yes, that's a chance. And accept who they are.
Yes. Accept who you are physically, accept who you are mentally, accept who you are emotionally, accept who you are socially, accept who you are financially, accept who you are religiously. Accept yourself as you are, full stop.
And how?
We'll come to that. Because if you don't accept yourself as who you are, you are already having, you have degraded yourself. And if you degrade yourself, you have low value of yourself, and self-esteem becomes affected. And once self-esteem is affected, then there is no energy. If there is no energy, there is no production. If there is no production, there is no achievement. So first of all is to accept yourself unconditionally. Accept who you are. Number two is to say, it doesn't matter where I came from. What matters is where am I going to finish. It doesn't matter where I came from. What matters is where am I going to finish. And with that is to say that the future is open. I still have all the options present to me. And with those options, I can achieve a lot. So that is number two.
So not basing it on past experience. Yeah.
Never take the past with you. The past belongs to the past. Leave it where it belongs.
Yes.
It belongs in the past. Number three is to realize you have everything you need before you to be successful. All resources that you need to become successful in anything you want to venture is there presented in front of you. All you have to do is tap into that resource. There is nothing that somebody has achieved in life that you cannot achieve. You can achieve that. So by realizing that, here I am, I've accepted who I am, I like myself, I like myself, I like myself, I like myself. And of course, when you like yourself, it ought not to get transformed into arrogance, to think that you are above everybody. No. It's not comparing yourself with anybody. It's just who you are, without bringing anybody into your life. And to realize that the past belongs to where it is, and I don't need to bring it to the future, and I have everything I need to tap into to make me successful in whatever I want. And then the fourth thing to say is to say, what do I want in life? What do I value the most in life? And these are two different questions. What you want is something, and what you value the most is something else. If they are the same, well done. If they are different, then what you value the most takes precedence.
Priority of it.
Priority. So you say, what do you value the most? Start with the relationships. In my relationship with Allah, what do I value the most? In my relationship with self, what do I value the most? in my relationship with others, and then the others could be many. It could be the immediate family and then extended family. It could be my friends. It could be my colleagues at work. It could be my superiors at work. It could be my clients. So then you can begin to put as many people as you want. What do I value the most in this relationship with that person, with this entity, with this organization, with this team? And then you begin to put that. The minute you put that, what you value the most is what is going to bring you happiness.
Okay. And that impacts your peace, state of peace.
So make sure what you want is linked to what you value the most.
Okay. So it's a matter of what you end up focusing on. Now, I would like to spend time with these key elements.
Okay.
And just to flesh out how we can practically ensure we achieve those. So most people say, okay, I understand I need to accept myself, but then they find themselves dragged back into, they're not happy with this, and so they're going through a struggle. So what can we do to make that actually something permanent of who we are?
To make it permanent of who we are, we need to go into the 4 Ds. Last time we introduced 4 A's, this time we're going to introduce 4 Ds. D number 1 is the D of desire.
Okay.
What do I value the most that I desire so strongly? So identify what do you desire the most.
Okay.
And make it a matter of life and death. Just like oxygen. You desire oxygen. It's not that there's a difference between desiring and a wishful thinking.
Okay.
We all wish. 95% of people wish to have things. Wish to become better. Wish to be forgiven. Wish to be promoted. Wish to acquire more wealth. Wish to have better health. Wishful thinking will get you nowhere. ليس الإيمان بالتمني. Even faith is not by wishing. ولكن ولا بالتحلي ولكن ما وقر في القلب وصدقه العمل. But it is what resides strongly, is embedded, is engraved in the heart, and then the deeds confirm that faith.
So something very passionate.
Very passionate. You need to transform that into real passion, into real desire.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the second D is the D of decision. Now that I desire this, do I really want it? And how badly do I want it?
Okay.
So it transformed into a decision. A lot of people know what they want, but then they become indecisive. To overcome their being indecisive is to overcome the fear. We talked about it earlier. Fear is what makes a lot of people undecisive or indecisive.
Yes.
And the 3 fears that a lot of people have: fear of failure, fear of rejection, or fear of ridicule, being ridiculed.
Yes.
So people need to overcome that. And 80% of fear is unfounded. Now that you have desired what you wanted and you made the decision to go after it, the third thing you need is a D of discipline. Discipline now to do what you have to do to get whatever you want.
Okay.
Part of it is planning, prioritizing, and then acting upon the priorities. Now, definition of a discipline goes like this. Discipline is to do what you have to do when you have to do it, whether you feel like it or not.
Not a mood.
No, it's not based on your mood. I feel like it or don't feel like it. No. Discipline is to do what you have to do when you have to do it, whether you feel like it or not. So you need to go and establish that quality within you, that attribute, to make sure that, yes, I can do what I have to do when I want to do, when I have to do it. You just go and do it.
Otherwise, we stay in wishful thinking.
Otherwise, again, you remain in your comfort zone and then you procrastinate and you begin to do that. So there in the discipline is about overcoming procrastination. It's about overcoming delaying things for another day. A lot of people say, someday I'll do this. One day I'll begin to do this. Or other people say, you know what, when summer is over, I'll begin. Or when I become 20 or 30, whatever, I'll do this.
Yeah, it stays far away.
Far away. Or when I begin to have savings, I'll do this. Or when my health gets better, I'll begin to do exercise. Or when my child finishes school, whatever, then I'll start. So they always put a condition, and when that condition happens, they find another condition. Another excuse to delay. So to overcome the issue of discipline, is to stick with discipline, is to overcome the problem of procrastination. of delaying things.
Because we can be masters in that.
and aren't we good masters in that? Because of the comfort zone. So discipline forces people to get out of the comfort zone.
Okay.
And the final one is called, the last D is the D of determination. Determination is to say that failure is no longer an option. Is to stick with it. To stick with whatever you do, not for 1 day, not for 2 days, not for 3 days, but until you yield the results. It takes anything between 21 days and could be 3 months, 6 months to stick with it until you see. With determination is to realize that a droplet of water, soft as it is, but because of determination and repetition, it even cracks a stone, hard rocks. So that is what you have to do. By repetition and by repetition, by repetition, by repetition, you become successful. So practice, 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 make perfect. So
Not giving up.
It's not giving up.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not that you do it 1 day and you get the results. This is how we learn to walk, because we had determination. We fail, and we fell many times, and we hurt ourselves, but we didn't say, I quit. So falling is not wrong. Is failing to stand up again that is wrong.
Yes.
That is failure. So how do you bounce back every time you fall? That would determine how much passion you have for whatever you do.
It goes back to the desire
Indeed.
that we first
Yes. When
understood.
the desire is strong, then everything. Now with everything, if you come back to the desire, there is another saying that says when the why is big enough, the how will take care of itself.
Okay.
When the desire is strong enough, you will find a way to make it work. We have seen, for example, when calamities hit, for example, there's a very distinct story that a mother who is very old, in her 60s and 70s, and her son who was in the 30s, 40s, was repairing a car underneath the car, on the jack. And suddenly the jack collapsed and the car fell on the son's chest. And there was no one to help. The mother heard the cry. Imagine a 60, 70-year-old woman. Because she saw her son there and she knew it was a matter of life and death, she found the strength to lift the car. And the son got out. Where did she find the strength? No one knows, but it was the desire. It was a matter of life and death.
Yes.
We see that also in wars, when soldiers know that they have no option. It's a matter of survival or death. There is no retreat. They suddenly fight with all their strength. They become heroic in the acts. That is what you need. If people don't have a very strong desire, if the why is not big enough, the how will always be filled with excuses.
And like in the story you shared, it's the mother would have had the decision to act quickly, the discipline to do it now, and determination that
Absolutely.
I must save my son.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So there you can see that. So the first thing is to make sure that you have a very strong desire to achieve whatever you want.
Yes.
And we have seen time and time again, people who have that, usually they're successful. So make sure that it is not a wishful thinking, but it's something you truly desire in your life to get. And you will get it if you insist on it.
Excellent. Now, Sh.Khalfan, how can we also be a source of peace to others?
Source of peace to others, number one is do not set standards with people. In other words, do not impose standards to people.
Your standards to others.
Your standards. Do not impose your standards to others unless it affects you.
Okay.
You can begin to communicate your standards, your values, but at the same time, you should not go and give up on your values or compromise on your values or give up on your values because of others. You stick with them. So that's the first thing. It's accepting people as they are.
Okay.
And then is to decide. If I hang around with these people and our values contradict, can we establish peace? If the answer is no, then keep away. Find other people to interact with. In other words, only interact with people whom you feel comfortable with. The other ones, the best way to keep peace with them is to avoid them. So part of peace is avoidance. You don't have to go and please everybody. One person said, I don't know the formula for success, but I know the formula for failure. And it's this: trying to please everybody. You're not there to please everybody. nor are you there to accept everybody, nor are you there to entertain everybody. Those whom you share values with, interact with them more. Those whom you differ in values, keep the relationship at an arm's length. That way you do not interact as often, nor do you influence each other negatively. So keep your distance.
Unless both sides have established peace.
Yes.
Accepting each other.
Yes.
Yes. We'll take a quick break and we'll be back.
On the authority of Abi Ayyub al-Ansari, may Allah be blessed with him, who said, the Messenger of Allah, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, said, it is sinful for a person to ignore his brother for more than 3 days. The best of them is he who takes an initiative and pays salutation. Bukhari and Muslim.
I love you, Allah.
With Sh.Khalfan Al Esry. On Let's Connect.
Welcome back to Let's Connect, your Ramadan radio program. Sh.Khalfan, I'd like to pick on the element of not imposing standards on others.
Yeah.
Because we've seen this a common situation where people do impose standards and it will harm the peace.
Yes.
So are there etiquettes of ways where you can communicate your standards without imposing?
Yeah. Communicating your standards starts first of all with the way you behave. Let's take, for example, punctuality, respecting time.
Yes.
If time is one of the values that you respect a lot, make sure that every time you are punctual or you're ahead of time. Communicate that message consistently.
Okay.
Not one time, not twice, not 3 times. And that way people will know that yes, you respect time. And then they will learn that if they don't respect time, then they're not respecting you. Another one could be, for example, using language. If you don't like to use a foul language and wrong vocabulary, make sure you don't use it.
Yes.
In other words, the golden rule says, do unto others as it will be done unto you. That is the golden rule. However, there's a platinum rule. It says, do unto others as they would like to be done unto them.
Okay.
Yeah? As they would like to be done unto them. So first rule is that, yes, you have your standards, implement your standards, let them emanate, so people can see you practice your own standards. And people go to see whether you have integrity, whether you have honesty, trustworthiness, whether you respect time, whether you productivity, proactiveness, whatever it is. And then others, treat them as they would like to be treated. How do they like to be treated? The best way is to go and ask them.
Okay.
For example, how would you like me to call you? How should I refer to you? Oh, and with time is that, how best should I treat with you with respect to time?
Okay.
Do you need more time? Do you need less time, etc.? With deadlines, how long do you need? So you ask them, and then based on that, you decide whether that is good or not, and then you accept it, or you say, you know what, can we negotiate, or find it difficult to accept? And then that way, then you begin to establish that dialogue to understand each other, and that way, then there's no harm. So you apply the golden rule and the platinum rule. In so doing, then you are doing what you think is right, and then you do unto others what you think that they ought to be done unto them.
Getting to know what they like.
Yes.
And walking the talk.
Yes.
Yes. Now, Sh.Khalfan, it's natural that we get impacted by the suffering of others, and that's part of our humanity.
Yes.
But that also disturbs our peace, and we find it hard to balance between that. So how can we handle such a situation?
Every time we get disturbed, it's because one of our values has been either violated, or one of our values has been infringed, or one of our values has been impacted.
Okay.
So it is also quite natural to feel that way. because indeed it's one of your values that is being infringed and impacted. And you have two options. Is to try and go and make it better, either through physical, with money or with energy, whatever, or through your words, by advocating, by propagating for it. Or when you feel you are helpless, then it's just to go and make that application. So yes, when you see others are being hurt, one of the main things that a lot of people do is they go and show their sympathy and empathy to those people. They have the empathy and they go and show the sympathy. Beyond that, they try to support with whatever they can. Physically, mentally, emotionally, financially, with time, with energy, whatever people can do. So try to go and fix it if you can.
Okay, we'll have a call, Sh.Khalfan. Assalamu alaikum.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
أهلا بك. الحمد لله رب حاتم، كيف الصحة؟
الحمد لله رب العالمين. شيخ خلفان كيف حالك؟
الحمد لله رب العالمين. كيف حالك لحاتم؟
الحمد لله بخير.
بارك الله فيك.
I have a question
Okay.
about ego.
Ego.
That there is a phenomenon that people with less achievement have big ego.
Yes.
People who have big achievement, they are very humble.
Yes.
How can this be explained?
Okay.
Good question.
Shukran.
Shukran. Thank you.
Yeah.
So the more successful,
the less the ego. I think this has to do with the Maslow hierarchy of law, or of needs. And he says that people who are big achievers, when they reach that self-actualization, they realize they have achieved everything. Now they want to give.
Okay.
They want to give back. And that is why the ego then is less. They become more humble. They realize that everything that they have, in actual fact, did not fulfill them. Acquiring is not fulfilling. And then they go and find other means to bring that fulfillment, and they realize fulfillment comes when they begin to give back. They try to help others. So they try to coach others, they try to mentor others, they try to finance others, to see them become successful. By supporting others to become successful, they find in that the fulfillment. A step before self-actualization, that is when people want to prove themselves. And this is when people go, for example, and they want to establish that they have a house, they get married, they have a job, they have a career, and they have a status, they have a title, they have a degree, they have etc. All of that is to go and fulfill self-needs.
Okay.
And people do that because they want to establish themselves. That is when ego probably is potentially the highest, because that is when they fight for themselves. What's in it for me? What's in it for me? What's in it for me? And because what's in it for me, the ego thinks that yes, it deserves a lot, it deserves more. And they go and acquire, whether it is friends, whether it is jobs, whether it is work, whether it is responsibilities, whether it is money, whether it is property, whether it is children. It's all part and parcel of establishing one's position. But then they realize when wisdom kicks in, and that is the key word, ego becomes less demanding when wisdom kicks in. In the absence of wisdom kicking in, people will remain to be selfish, and the ego will always be high. They will always see things from their perspectives, not from anybody else's perspectives. And so I think the key word, the differentiating word, is maturity, it is wisdom. People who are mature enough, people who are wise enough, do not allow the ego to surface, or do not allow the ego to drive them. And that is the basic difference.
Okay. Is it also a way to protect themselves where they haven't achieved much? And
it's part of it, because there's competition. Because there is competition in that time, then they realize they are threatened. So the ego kicks in. If one criticizes, the ego kicks in. If one challenges, the ego kicks in. If one competes with them, the ego kicks in. So you see a lot of politics at work, you see a lot of politics at home, you see a lot of politics in society, basically trying to win. The game, when the ego is there, is that I win, you lose. That is the ego. However, when wisdom comes in, and when maturity comes in, how I win and you win. It's a win-win situation.
A win-win, yes.
Yes.
Both achieve.
Yes.
Yeah. So on the point that we were speaking about before the call, where you mentioned the way to handle that is see if you can support to make things better.
Yes.
If not, at least supplication.
Yes.
How can we ensure, Sh.Khalfan, that this empathy doesn't also drain us? Because oftentimes you see people keep themselves in low energy. They're drained by what's happening in the world, and to a sense where it makes them passive. Then they cannot move forward.
It is all about focus. Again, we come back to the first thing we talked about, what you think about most of the time. You are what you think about most of the time. This is a good exercise to do.
Okay.
The minute you wake up in the morning, take a piece of paper that has been divided into two. And then ask yourself, what am I thinking right now? What is occupying my mind right now? And just write it down.
Okay.
Keep on writing down what is occupying your mind. Every now and then, after 2 hours, 3 hours, catch yourself, whatever you're doing, stop and say, what is occupying my mind? What am I doing? What am I thinking about right now?
Okay.
And then reflect back and say, what has been lingering in my mind? Yeah. And this is the interesting thing you're going to find out. 3 things are going to emerge from this exercise. Number 1, you are thinking of how to make your life better, or why your life is not better.
Okay.
Why don't I have this and why don't I have that? Why haven't I achieved this or that?
The shortcomings.
Shortcomings of life.
Okay.
The other one, it could be you are thinking about relationship. And this is the biggest. My relationship with this person, my relationship with that person, my relationship with this person.
Okay. Social context.
The third one, it could be you are thinking of the things that have been hurting you. You are reviving, you are reliving the experience of the things that didn't go well, things that didn't work.
Okay.
Yeah. And in there, sometimes you're trying to imagine, if I had the superpower, if I was like the Superman, or if I was like the Iron Man, or if I had the magic wand, this is what I would do. And most of the time is to do with retaliation.
Okay.
For the people who have hurt you, or the events that have hurt you, is to retaliate.
So still negative.
Still negative. And that is typically what most of people are living, entertaining in their mind.
Okay.
It is the worry, it is the anxieties, it is the fear, it is the resentment, it is the stressful moments, it is the things that went bad, it is the relationship that went sour. Basically, it's all about the things that are not right in my life.
Okay.
If people find themselves in that mode, then this is how they have learned to program their mind. Now they need to say, now I'm going to catch myself programming my mind properly. I'm going to establish in my day, to start with, one particular time a day. Be it in the morning, be it after having more breakfast, be it after lunch, or be it in the afternoon, be it at night. Sometimes where I can be to myself and by myself for 5 minutes.
Okay.
And the only thing I'm going to do for 5 minutes, what do I truly desire in life? It's not about, and when the things I desire in life is not about what are the things I don't want in life. There's a difference. It's what do I desire to happen.
Yes. Not
Again,
to avoid.
When I ask people, what do you desire in life? They say, one of them is that I don't want to be treated badly. I say, that is what you don't want. What do you want?
Yes.
I don't want to fail. That's what you don't want. What do you want? I don't want to become bankrupt. I don't want to lose my money. That's what you don't. What do you want? I don't want to lose my relationship. Again, I know what you don't want. Tell me what you want. And people will find it difficult to express themselves on what they want. So you have to discipline yourself to think on what do you want rather than on what you do not want.
Why is that? We've been programmed.
Again, most of the time we've been programmed to run away. It is about to avoid fear, avoid failure, avoid pain.
Okay.
And the best way to avoid pain is to say, I don't want this, I don't want that. Now, this is an interesting exercise. In Arabic, there is a saying that says, كل ممنوع مرغوب. كل ممنوع مرغوب.
Okay. We'll take a quick break and we'll be back.
Okay.
On the authority of Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, who said, the Messenger of Allah, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, said, Allah likes kindness in all things. Bukhari and Muslim.
I love you, Allah. Salamu alaykum.
This is Radio, Sultan of Oman, 90.4 FM.
Salamu alaykum. Salamu alaykum. Salamu alaykum.
With Sh.Khalfan Al Esry. On Let's Connect.
Welcome back to your Ramadan radio program, Let's Connect. Sh.Khalfan, before the break, I asked you, why is it that people focus on what they don't want more than what they want?
Yes. Yeah, and we were talking about a simple exercise or imagination to do.
Yes.
In Arabic, there is a saying that says, كُلُّ مَمْنُوعٍ مَرْغُوبٍ. Everything that is forbidden is wanted.
Yes.
Imagine this scenario. I have children, and I tell my children, me and your mother are going to go to the supermarket, and we'll be away from home for half an hour. In our absence, please pay attention. In our absence, don't open television. Don't switch on television. Do not open the fridge, specifically the freezer. Number 3, don't fight. And number 4, don't go outside. After half an hour, if I come back, what am I going to find?
All of those?
All of those. They would have switched on the television, they would have opened the fridge, they would have quarreled, made the mess of the house, and definitely I'll find them outside as well. Why? Some people say, psychologists say that our brain, our subconscious mind registers a verb. What were the verbs in these 4 scenarios? Switch on, open, fight, go out.
Okay.
So they follow that. That's why when you put a sign there, no smoking, people understand immediately when they see that sign, the smokers, the crave for smoking comes in. They were not thinking of smoking at that moment.
It brings it to mind.
It brings to mind, yeah? It's because they see the word smoking. So with this, the same thing when people say, imagine now someone is going to an exam room, and they say, I'm stressed. Or they say that I'm panicking. Or they say to themselves, I hope I will not answer the questions wrong. I hope I will not answer them wrong. I don't want to fail. I don't want to. Yeah? What's going to happen? They're going to fail, they're going to answer wrong, they're going to panic, and they're going to be stressed. So always entertain the mind the way you want. With children, we come back children, tell them what you want rather than what you don't want. Children, we're going to go out. In our absence, I expect you to do this. I expect you to sit comfortably. I expect you to behave. I expect you to look after the house. I expect to find the house clean when I come back. And certainly I expect you to be doing your homework.
Do's, not don'ts.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that is what you do. So always talk in the language of what you want rather than what you don't want.
Excellent. And catch ourselves doing that.
Yes.
Yes. Now, Sh.Khalfan, we're currently in the second phase, 10 days of Ramadan.
Yes.
Which is known for forgiveness.
Yes.
And so I'd like to connect with the value of forgiveness. How can we establish peace or find peace through forgiveness?
Yes. See, again, the words forgive and forgiveness. I'd like to play with the word. Forgive is made of 2 words. For and then give.
Okay. Nice way to see it.
And then forget. For and get.
Okay.
So there are 2 verbs there, give and get. The only way to get is to give.
Okay.
So you have to forgive in order to forget. If you do not forgive, you are always having the grudges with you. And that is painful. In the month of Ramadan, we encourage to seek forgiveness from Almighty Allah.
Yes.
And certainly also seek forgiveness from others. At the same token, we ought to forgive. Because it has to be a 2-way street. If I forgive, I expect others to forgive as well. So in forgiving, in actual fact, you are giving. You are giving those people clemency, you're giving them, you're pardoning them, you're giving them your kindness. The minute you begin to give that type of kindness, it's going to come back to you in the forget. You're going to get back. And the best way to get back is to forget. If you forget, it's a beautiful gift. If you can, excuse me. If you can forget your pain, it's a wonderful thing. If you can forget your miseries, it's a wonderful thing. It's a big gift. Yeah, that's why Almighty Allah uses the word "Afa Allahu amma salaf," and the word "afu" is like clemency, is to forgive unconditionally. It's not to put any conditions. It's not to say, "I will only forgive you if you do this." No. When you forgive, don't put any conditions.
So it's unconditional.
It's unconditional. Whatever that was there, whatever has happened, some people say, "I'll not forgive unless they come and apologize." Others say that, "I'll not forgive unless they compensate me." Some say, "No, I will only accept a public apology."
We're complicating it.
The ego is playing. Yeah. Successful people forgive unconditionally, and they don't make a big fuss out of it. Yeah, and that is the best thing to do.
Okay. And how can we go about forgiving the act itself?
Very simple. What is bothering you the most? Who has been hurting you the most? What is it that you're still unhappy with a particular person? There are three ways you can forgive. One of them is between you and yourself. Maybe that person doesn't even know that you still have grudges. You just let it go. Just let it go.
Having a check-in with ourselves.
Write it on a piece of paper. Tear that piece of paper. Throw it in a bin. Throw it in the toilet and flush it. Take it to the beach and throw it, or just burn it. Do whatever it is, but take it out of your mind. That is one.
Okay.
Let it go. The other way is to go and tell that person.
Okay.
Tell that person that, look, this is what has happened between you and me in the past. It did hurt me a lot, but today I would like to let you know that I have forgiven you.
Okay.
A third way is to go and communicate with Allah. Oh Allah, I was hurt by this person, I was abused by this person, or something happened with this person.
Okay.
And I would like to declare to you, Almighty Allah, that I have forgiven this person, and I would seek forgiveness from you as well.
Okay.
So you trade with Allah.
Like as a good deed.
Yes.
Yes. We have a call with us. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
What's your good name?
I am Mazhar Mahmoud with you.
Mazhar. Hello, Mazhar. How are you?
Sir? Alhamdulillah, good.
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah, that's a very good topic about ego. Just one small, sometimes knowingly, we might also become egoistic. Like sometimes we expect that, okay, fine, see how he's demanding, I have to come and apologize. He's a very egoistic person. Okay, fine. And sometimes even unknowingly, we also expect, let him come and apologize. Then only I'll say, I forgive him.
Okay.
With nothing intentional in my heart that we have to, when we criticize others, when we do the mistake, when we want to say sorry, then we expect that in the other way. I hope you got my message.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you, Mazhar. Thank you. So, Sheikh, this is connected to finding ourselves putting conditions before we forgive.
The longer you wait for people to come and apologize, the more you hurt yourself. If someone comes and say, I'm sorry, so what?
Okay.
What does it mean? Is it worth for me to hold a grudge for a long time, waiting for someone to come and tell me I'm sorry? This is an exercise that was done in one of the schools. A teacher wanted to teach students the concept of forgiving, the concept of grudges, and the impact it has. She said, kids, next week we'll play a game. Make sure that you come on Saturday or Sunday, whatever it is, the beginning of the week, you come with a backpack that is empty.
Okay.
And so everybody was excited. She said, we've got a game to play next week, and they got a bag. When they came to school, the teacher in the classroom had a pile of potatoes, raw potatoes.
Okay.
And she said, now I want you to sit around this pile. And try to remember anybody who hurt you. Every time you remember that you've been hurt, take 1 potato. If someone hurted you 3 times, take 3 potatoes. If 3 people hurted you, each one 1 time, take 3 potatoes. 1, 1, 3. 1, 1, 1. Take as many potatoes based on the amount of pain you have, the number of times you experience pain. So children, some of them took 1, other people took 3, some people took 10.
Okay.
And then they said, okay, now whatever amount you have taken of that potatoes, put on your back, on your backpack. The first day they were going around, moving around the class, and they were all making fun and joking. How many potatoes do you have? I have 1. You have 1? I have 5. Oh, 5. No, I have 10. 10. Oh, you have too many. So they felt proud based on that numbers. So day 1. Day 2, the bag began to get a bit heavier for those who had more potatoes. Day 3, the potatoes began to rot, to have smell. So every time they would come to the class, they were told to put the bags on their shoulder. By the time it was already 4th day, they didn't like the game anymore. They said, teacher, we don't like it. It's becoming heavy and it's beginning to smell, etc. Says, no, we have 1 more day. Keep on at it. Until 5 days were over. And now she said, now put them back. Put them down. What do we learn from this exercise? For every potato, it is a grudge that you have. And now here it is only a potato. But a grudge you have, it could be very heavy. It's a heavy burden upon you. And then, the longer you keep it with it, the sour it gets. The more painful it gets. And that is of it rotting. It becomes worse because every time you entertain it, it becomes vicious. You get to see more wrong things. So the question was, how long do you want to carry on having rotten potatoes on your back? You decide. You can get rid of them right now. Or you can wait for them until you're 40, until you're 50, or until you die. You decide. You can wait for people to come and apologize, and they may never apologize because they don't even know that they did something wrong to you. So my suggestion is, remove the bag as early as possible and put it down. Put it where it belongs, in the past, and move on.
Move the bag today, hopefully.
Yes, hopefully today. Offload the bag.
Offload the bag. Thank you, Sh.Khalfan. With that, we come to the end of our show today. So wishing everyone lots of peace and to let go of what's hindering their peace.
Yes.
This is your host, Rym Aoudia, with the Honorable Sh.Khalfan Al Esry and the sound engineer, Safiya Al-Habsi. You can also catch up with their episodes in the Facebook page, facebook.com/321connect. From all of us here, Assalamu alaikum, with peace and love.
Radio, Sultan of Oman, 90.4 FM.
سلام عليك سلام عليك